Choo-choo, the Nintendo Switch 2 train keeps on rolling. They're doing live hands-on previews that, of course, I wasn't invited to these things because they don't really like me. We're getting Treehouse showcases that are showing new features for the Nintendo Switch 2, games running on the system as well, online games. There's a whole bunch of stuff that has been happening. So in this video, I kind of want to compile all of the interesting information that I have discovered over the past 24 hours or so and put it in a nice, tidy little package. And we're going to end the video with the million-dollar question that was actually asked to Nintendo. Why is Mario Kart World an $80 game? The golden goose of questions, the biggest mystery of them all. We're going to explore that today. The first thing we're going to talk about, though, is an interesting update to Nintendo Switch Online when it comes to the N64 side of things. This was actually found by Nate the Hate, and Nintendo themselves haven't actually talked about it. So on the Nintendo Switch 2, you will find new features waiting for you in the Nintendo 64 Nintendo Classics app. These include a new CRT filter to add a retro feel to your games, button remapping for each game's controls, and a rewind feature in case you want to turn back time and undo a mistake. I think the best thing out of this would have to be the button mapping for each game's controls, because as it's set up right now, you have to go in and adjust it to everything on it. So like, and you can create different profiles and stuff like that. So it's not like the biggest deal in the world, but for a game like GoldenEye or Perfect Dark, like I like to have a custom layout, especially for Perfect Dark, because GoldenEye is just damn near unplayable. But for Perfect Dark, I like to have a custom layout to play that game on the Switch, and you know, having to kind of configure all of that on a system by system basis instead of a game by game basis is something that is a bit tedious. The CRT filter, I don't care about that. I don't understand people who like to use CRT filters. It just makes the games look worse, in my opinion. If I wanted to see the game on a CRTV, I would set the game up on a CRTV. But this is a nice little addition, you know, something that's completely flown under the radar that not many people are talking about. But I wanted to shine a spotlight on this. Now, before we get into the other stuff in this video, because there's a lot more, I want to give a huge thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by VITURE, and gaming has just officially leveled up. Meet the VITURE Pro Ultimate Combo, where cutting-edge technology meets absolute freedom. With the VITURE Pro Neckband, you get hands-free, wire-free gaming like never before. It's the first ever Google Play certified device you can wear around your neck. Powerful, lightweight, and ready for action. And with PS Play and XBX Play support, your console is always in your hands, anytime, anywhere. Pair it with the VITURE Pro XR glasses and boom, you've got a 135-inch, 120Hz Full HD private screen with UltraClarity. No blurry edges, no distractions, just pure immersion. You need glasses? Not anymore, pal. With built-in myopia adjustments, your view is crystal clear, no prescriptions needed. And for total immersion, tap to activate electrochromic film, blocking out nearly 100% of that annoying external light, no shades required. No distractions, no limits. Game with ultimate freedom only with the VITURE Pro Ultimate Combo. Check out the link in the description box down below to get more information on the VITURE Pro Ultimate Combo, and more importantly, to pick one up for yourself. Be sure to use discount code RGT85 to save 10% off of your entire order. A huge thank you to VITURE for sponsoring today's video. Next up on the docket, I want to talk about one of the biggest additions to Nintendo Switch 2 Online expansion pack, and that, of course, is the GameCube games that are being added. Now, does this put a damper on things like Metroid Prime 2 Remastered, Wind Waker HD, Twilight Princess HD? I mean, I pretty much think so. Like, I guess you could potentially repackage the two Zelda games and use the Wii U editions of them because they are a bit better than the GameCube versions, and then just release that for, I don't know, hopefully not $80, but you never know with Nintendo now. But it definitely seems like that door has definitely closed a little bit. And they did show the GameCube games during the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, and they looked really good. But, you know, it's kind of hard to tell from something like that. Well, during the Treehouse presentation, they actually had GameCube games on there, and they were playing the GameCube games during this presentation. And honestly, I think these look really good. There's a key addition into these as well, because if a game offered native widescreen support on the original GameCube version, the Switch 2 online version will support widescreen. So when we're talking about something like F-Zero GX, which really was a game that was just far ahead of its time, that game actually supported widescreen mode on the original GameCube if you happen to have the component cables and have a widescreen television at that time frame. So that to me is something very nice. And honestly, all the games I thought looked really good. Like Wind Waker looks really clean and crisp. I know they kind of added a lot of bloom on the Wii U version of that game, which some people didn't really like. I kind of prefer the visual style of the GameCube game. Soul Calibur 2 looked awesome. Of course, the aforementioned F-Zero GX, which is a 60 frame per second game, looks great. I think being able to play these games online is going to be really fun. I just hope it works a little bit better than the N64 does on the current Nintendo Switch, because that's going to be a big shame if that is a bit of a missed opportunity with that. Because yes, Nintendo, not everyone lives close to their friends, especially when they're an adult. People tend to move away, and the people that are going to be enjoying the GameCube games are old people like me. So very cool, though. You know, definitely nice to see GameCube on there. I'm interested to see kind of where they go with adding more GameCube stuff to the library, but very cool. I definitely am digging that. The next thing I want to talk about is Cyberpunk 2077. Now, this is the deluxe edition that has the additional DLC that was only released on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series when it comes to the console side of things. Now, we've gotten some technical specifications for Cyberpunk, and it seems like in performance mode, it will be running at 40 frames per second, and in high definition or graphics mode, I guess I should say, it'll be running at allegedly 30 frames per second. Now, this is in docked mode. We haven't gotten any additional information on whether or not, you know, how it's going to run in handheld mode. And of course, people are automatically up in arms about this. Well, you know, why is it only 40 frames per second? Switch 2 sucks, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, you're kind of looking at it from a wrong standpoint, in my opinion, because of the fact that this is a 7-week-old build that is being showcased for this game right now, and this is going to be a launch title game. I fully expect there to be additional graphical options and modes added into this game as it comes along, and from people that have been playing the game hands-on, such as friend of the channel, and I can't say that very often, Gene Park. Gene says, I can confirm the Switch 2 Cyberpunk build is indeed a 7-week-old build, and it runs really well, better than the Steam Deck. And I know because I've played a ton of Cyberpunk on the Steam Deck. And I think that's something that people need to factor in with this. Like, although the Switch 2, and I'm not trying to like justify Cyberpunk 2077 by no stretch of the imagination, because, you know, that game definitely had its problems when it came out. But to say that it's running better than the Steam Deck version, and considering that it has the additional content that's only in the next generation consoles, I mean, that would say that it's also running better than it did on the Xbox One. It's also running better than it did on the PlayStation 4. Like, I think people have forgotten just how bad that game was when it came out. And that also extended to the original versions that came out on next generation consoles. It took, you know, years of patches and stuff like that to get a quality version of the game. And of course, now it has all the bells and whistles on the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series, but it wasn't like that when the game came out. So I kind of foresee this as, you know, a baseline, you know, sort of a template for how good this game can get over time as well. And who knows, maybe they'll find additional graphical settings between now and the release of the game. I'm just saying, you know, this is probably going to happen with some of these third-party games, especially ones that are available on the PlayStation 5 Pro and the Xbox Series X. But you have to factor in that this is the portability aspect of it. If you try to play, you know, Cyberpunk 2077 on a Steam Deck, on a ROG Ally, on any portable device, it's not going to run as good as the $450 Nintendo Switch 2 does. Just something to keep in mind with this. Not trying to necessarily justify anything with this, because I mean, I'm going to have to buy it. They put it all on the cartridge, 64 gigs on the cartridge. Like, that's pretty cool. It's $70 though. Like, but then if you look at the Steam version is $80. So like, what the hell's going on with that? I don't really know. I'm just saying that's just the pricing that we are encountering right now. Finally, the elephant in the room, the golden goose, the golden egg question. Why is Mario Kart World an $80 game? I talked about this in yesterday's video. People want to blame it on tariffs. I'm sorry. That holds absolutely no weight when we're talking about the game side of things. If we were talking about hardware, then maybe you would have a bit more of a case. But on games, it has nothing to do with that. This seems to be a decision coming directly from Nintendo to create the $80 game. Maybe they envision it as a 4K thing. Oh, now games are 4K. We can charge $80. Because if it had to really do with tariffs, you would see all the games be $80. Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out a month after the Switch does, and that's only a $70 game. So there's been lots of questions about that. And Video Games Chronicle actually had a chance to interview Nintendo. And this interview, like, if I'm Nintendo, I'm not even taking this interview if I'm going to give these sorts of answers. So the question asked was, why are some games priced more than others, such as Mario Kart World? With the answer given by Nintendo, the final price is determined by retailers. For My Nintendo Store prices, we determine on a case-by-case basis. What the hell kind of answer is that? That is the most illogical. You are giving the stores the suggested price, and the stores aren't making up the price as they go along. They are deciding what to charge based on what you tell them to charge, because they are, of course, buying these games, and once they buy these games, they need to sell these games. And games, especially new games, are not a high profit margin thing for any store out there. The whole reason that the electronics department in Walmart is in the back of the store is because you have to walk through the rest of the store and hopefully find something else that you need to buy, so that way they actually make money on it. GameStop doesn't want to sell this game for $80. Target doesn't want to sell this game for $80. Best Buy doesn't want to sell this game for $80. They're not making more money on it. How the hell are you going to put this on the retailers? That is the most ridiculous thing in the world. And if you look at this whole conversation, they just say, please talk to publishers. Please talk to publishers. We have nothing to announce. Why do this interview? Why do this interview if you're not going to give actual answers, if you're going to constantly defer everything that has to do with the important stuff? If you want to charge $80 for this game, which you clearly do, give me a reason why. Tell me why. Say it's because it's worth it. It's because it costs more to develop. Give us a concrete reason. No one's going to like your answer anyways. There's always going to be someone that complains about it. But to just give a non-answer and put the onus on retailers is disgusting. There is a level of hubris going on right now with Nintendo. And as great as the Nintendo Switch 2 hardware is, I definitely see some issues with how they're handling software. I definitely see some issues with how they're handling pricing of software as well. And this could be a situation that comes to bite them in the ass. We've seen this before. Remember the 3DS? The 3DS didn't exactly light the world on fire, although my ass was there at a midnight launch in a rainy Rayford, North Carolina freaking Walmart with my buddy Rob, and I had to drive his car, and he had just put 20s on his Cadillac CTS, and his wipers didn't work for shit, and I was like Mr. Magoo driving in that rain. But I don't like that. I don't like those non-answers. I don't like that sort of avoiding the question and then, putting the blame on the retailers when you are the one who made that decision. Everyone knows that. It clears crystal. You made that decision. Stand on business. But with all that being said, I'm looking forward to today's Treehouse presentation as well. So if a bunch more stuff happens, I will definitely do a second video today as well. I've been cranking these out, and I will continue to crank them out because the hype is here, man. I'm still very stoked for the system. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a beautiful machine. I think the technology in it is awesome. I just hope that they could do something about these prices. $70 is one thing, but to be the first to go to $80 for standard editions of games, you kind of got to talk about why you decided to do that. You're not exactly hurting for money, Nintendo. we could see your financials. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, share. Hit the bell as well. Be sure to check out VITURE glasses today. I have a link in the description box down below and in the pinned comment section down below. Thank you to VITURE for sponsoring today's video. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.